too. It's all right.
Oh, I pressed the button, but it's like not in my control when it will connect. Maybe it's like walking to Austin. Hello, Brian Tinsman. You're real.
Hey,
You
Brian
can
Schneider, my old my old friend slash rival from the R&D days.
namesake to an extent. You challenged me to a jujitsu battle at some point, or like sparring, and I didn't know what it was, but I didn't say yes. Was that correct in retrospect? Maybe I would have learned a lot from that experience, and I just closed the door.
I mean, it's a tricky thing because jiu-jitsu is notorious for like an untrained person who's tough gets stuck on their back and they can't don't know what to do, and it's sort of like a prank to pull on the tough, resilient people. So I must have thought you were tough and resilient.
That's nice of you. Like, who else was on the list? Did you like approach anyone else in the department? Because that is just a fun topic. Like, why me? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I I got the personal
Can I
trainer at
volunteer who I
I
wish you had like you had challenged? No, go ahead.
oh the personal trainer that we had at the on-site gym I agreed to a match, and he was a tough, strong dude, and he
Did
actually
you
did
ever
it.
fight Charlie? You ever fight Charlie? Because that guy
Oh,
was like, I went to softball with him once, and that guy was in way better shape than anyone would have realized. Like, he was one of the best players. Like, did you ever think, hey, Charlie, I think I can take you on the jujitsu dojo?
I know.
No.
That dude is like the sweetest,
You can't
kindest.
fight a teddy bear.
It, it, he's just like always just excited about people and whatever they're doing. So it's like hard to imagine doing a wrestling match.
Well, I see. I see. Charlie
Have
is
you
off
talked to Charlie
limits.
for a while?
I did invite him on. And he is mulling it over. He has not been on for a while. When I asked him, it changed Charlie Catino to Charlie Action, which is on brand for him because his name is always misspelled at pretty much all turns in his professional life.
Yeah,
Same letters.
running gag in all of the Pokemon credits, and it's just I think starting early from the first Pokemon release.
He made it into the alternate worlds book because he was my boss when I first started out, and my first review was like, you don't communicate with other humans. And so after writing about 60 stories, I was like, all right, Charlie, uh, you were right for about 25 years, but now good luck shutting me up. So it was nice to
I remember I remember my first impression from you was that sometimes you were like warm and friendly to everyone, and someone you were sort of like, not sometimes not reading social signals, acting like an Asperger's type of behavior, and I was like, okay, so he's got both sides to him, and never know what you're gonna get. I don't know. Does that sound right?
I think if I'm like overly stressed or if I don't rest well, it becomes like the stress gets to me a lot. I burn out a lot in jobs because I just take on too much. So if I'm like in normal life, I'm pretty casual and easy to get along with. And if like you're like, let's do the impossible for a long period of time, like it ends up being really heavy for me. I don't have great heat sinks in the like battle mech version of describing this, the metaphor. So if I struggle to relax and that ends up causing me issues.
Mm.
Does that seem like a reasonable response? I think it's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, I found the wizards to be pretty stressful. At times, and like, on the weekend, I'd sleep instead of like be able to like have fun, and that happened again at Zynga. It's just like, wow, this is it took a while to come up with like heuristics or ways of being that help combat that, but it took a while to like figure out my own energy and how to wrangle it. You were more advanced when I remember you at Wizards. It's being a little older and a little wiser than most of us there, right?
Yeah, I had kind of a read on the strategy and politics, and how to
Yeah,
how
you're
to how to position myself on the right project at the right time. Um, it, I started out um, doing free market research projects and for a couple of the market research managers that I met through business school at U Washington um, MBA program, and I was like deep into being a gamer, and I was just making complete magic sets on my own for fun because it was completely captured my mind,
mhm.
and then I got hired to set up the market research user testing department where they had the one-way mirrors and
Oh, I've been there.
watch people. Yeah, and I put hundreds of hours into like setting up the screening participants and watching them through the glass and try to make learn to play products and things like that. And,
It's pretty helpful to a game designer to know how people
oh,
fumble with designs, right?
it's the best start for a game design career you could have because
Mhm.
it helps you appreciate how important it is for people to get the basics and the core fun of the game into their hands as quickly as possible. And how many uh, sidelines or offshoots can make them stumble and not reach it. So yeah, that was super cool. And then um, got to doing uh, kind of business management for the department for all of R&D because I met and talked to some of the R&D guys that were coming to the market research studies
Mhm.
and got to know them. And Jim Lynn asked me to like come on board and do a bunch of the tasks that he didn't really want to do as as a department head or VP,
I could see that.
which, which I was like, okay, yeah, I belong in R and D, and then yeah, so some of which was like firing some people who hadn't come in for a long time, but were still receiving a paycheck doing no work, and so I had to like track it down and
It's easy
tell
to put that on your, like, "What did you do this quarter?" You're like,
him.
"I stopped spending money on nothing."
Yeah, yeah, but he wanted to do it, so he got me to do it. Here I am, like, kind of fresh out of business school and, like, telling all these people, like, "Well, I just came on board and, now you're fired." Alright, that's how it works sometimes in management.
Yeah, for sure. I remember you as being, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what you were doing when I got there. I got there right before a layoff, so Pokemon was slated to, like, peel off. Hasbro had taken over. It seemed like Hasbro was cleaning things up. Some folks from our department got let go. Legend of the Five Rings got cut. Um, and you were in this weird, indeterminate, like, void. Like, you were there, but not there. You had an office, but it wasn't clear. You were kind of like a government agent. You weren't like a game designer yet. Do you still have your magic sets that you worked on before you came to Wizards?
The magic sets that I worked on before I came to Wizards, I do have. Yeah, I do.
And are they in a vault or are people allowed to see them? Like, how do you feel about them?
I mean, they're like a Word doc file. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've never shown it to anybody, uh, but I would sometimes. Sure, it's not some secret thing. Like, there's a
No, yeah.
whole bunch of different pitches for concepts that eventually, like Egyptian mythology concept was one of the first ones that I pitched to Bill and Jim,
Mhm.
and it got criticized and kind of torn apart. But then, like 15 years later, Amonkhet comes out, and I'm like, I knew it. I
Well,
knew we'd get there eventually.
Mirage kind of has that vibe, right? There's pyramids in there, like jungle vibe.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not straight up
It's
Egyptian.
it's not. I don't even know if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long run. How long did you work on Magic the game? I you start working on it when? Like Judgment? Is that your first hit?
It was, yeah.
Mhm.
So
I
that's
like that
like,
set.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it was probably 99 or something, right around there.
Mhm.
98. Um, and that was. part luck and part skill, but a lot of luck. Like they pulled me onto the design team with it was me, Richard Garfield, Rosewater, and Bill Rose on the design team. And then
Mhm.
all three of those guys got pulled off onto other stuff. And they're like, okay, Brian, well, we've had a few meetings with you. We'll just keep an eye on you, but you just keep going with it. And I was like, all right, sure, what the hell? And I kind of went for like make as many card ideas as possible, throw as many ideas out there as I could, and win with an economic victory. And those guys were smart enough to take what I threw out and like pick the best stuff and cultivate it a little bit. Ended up being really good. So
Yeah, there were a lot of really good mechanics in that set. I liked the wishes, I liked the wonders.
yeah,
I like the green white cards, which is hard to do. Green white is hard to make exciting.
first elemental incarnations, which showed up again in Lower Winter Eclipse.
That was like the least compelling theme that like one could like the green white set. You're like, what? Like who wants that? But the design was really great. And it like it didn't get like bogged down by the weird black versus white green dynamics of the block, which uh I have no idea how people think about it now. But like if you're thinking about it, you're like, have they done that a lot since? I would assume not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that was a weird one, but like the set was great anyway. Um,
Yeah, my
and
my my attitude at that point was sort of like, I probably can't be the most brilliant designer in the on the team, but I can be strategic and put out a high amount of content, win through volume, and always try to make my boss look good, make it easy for them
mhm.
to do to be a hero. And so that served me pretty well. Like I tried to get on as many projects as I could. I actually got on the Pokemon team for a couple of years during
Mhm.
the Genesis, the Neo series, which was like super super cool to be a part of that, and a bunch of the other independent TCGs. I was so close to getting on the Dual Masters design team. I really wanted to be on there, but it was like,
It was a good team, right? It was a good
yeah,
project.
yeah, and I did get to play do some design for cards and play it. But it was like that or Mirrored In or Time Spiral, and I was like, I gotta, you know, Dual Masters was an unknown, and if you're gonna be on like high profile Magic sets, you got to pick that.
There were a lot of people on Duel Masters too. It ended up being like a cluster, right? Everyone wanted credit for everything, and that was like a very successful product with a lot of unhappy people on it. You know what I mean? It was kind of a weird one, at least for its original year or two. Um,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't remember you being
I got to come
yeah.
in later and be like lead set designer on it for 3 4 years, like in the
It did well, right?
2007 era, 2009 era.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I did a bunch of set designs there. Turned out great.
You've done all kinds of things. What's your favorite blocks that you worked on or your favorite set for any game at Wizards?
I'm probably partial to Invasion block at Magic was like a turning point for me, and
Mhm.
that is the point at which I was in like high design mode. I'm just gonna like put out tons of sets and show them around, and see if I can get on design teams. And that that was that was a period at which I was sort of like validated, like, oh yeah, hey, can we grab some of your designs and stick them in holes in these sets here? And so I got
That's
a few,
yeah.
got a few in there, and actually, right around when the Invasion design was being handed off and like going to print, I was tasked with like organizing a bunch of loose files and paperwork, and I got the original um, file that was sent to Bill for by when his designer friend Barry, I think, sent it in. Like it was the
Mhm.
inspiration for Invasion, and I got to see like the process of like, oh wow, this is how it was first envisioned and what happened to it, and then here's how it actually turned out. Was
Yeah, you're
enlightening.
yeah, there's a question I wanna ask you in the future that I'm gonna mental note, which is like, how how has game making changed for you, or how do you think about game development, 20 years in the future when you're making your own game? Like, how do those processes change? But we're not gonna talk about it yet. We're gonna mental note it, and
Mhm.
we're gonna come back to it because even at this age, we can remember that we should talk about that. Um, yeah, when did you wanna be an entrepreneur? Like, you were always I don't wanna use the word opportunistic, but you were, like, you know, thinking of strategically about you've mentioned it a couple times, like, what you wanna do. Like, is that, like, a personality thing, or did something change in your life that was like, "Oh, I can do XYZ, and I'm just gonna go for it." Like, how did that happen for you? Like, it was interesting, I was talking to Brian David Marshall, and, like, he was a very quiet kid initially, who was very smart, and he had advanced too far in school, and, um, eventually was like, "Oh, I wanna create environments where kids like me, like, have a place to, grow, and feel comfortable," right? That's his, like, genesis towards going into a more comic book or game store-like direction. What do you think, where does Brian Tinsman, game designer, come from?
It's a little weird, because
Excellent, yes! It's like panning for gold.
okay, so I remember being a kid and like watching Batman or things like that, and he kind of has what he needs in his belt. He's got his laser cutter to get out of the locked room, or his shark repellent, or whatever he needs. And I'm like, okay, so his real talent is he thinks ahead of time what he's going to need, and prepares for it and runs like hypothetical scenarios, like and that was kind of inspirational, like made me think about like if you could make yourself better at being better at things, at thinking ahead, and get like a loop. Like this is kind of thing that they talk about with AI, gets better at making AI
Oh, yeah.
better and until you get to the singularity. And my dad was a psychotherapist, and ran a whole bunch of workshops on hypnosis and self hypnosis. And I'm like, oh, this fucking tool, I can use it to reprogram my mind. And so,
Mhm.
link excitement and enjoyment about anything I want to do, anywhere I want to go. So I'm like, okay, here I am. I'm Batman, and I'm going to think about my life, 10, 20 years in the future. What skills am I going to need to get there? Okay, I'm going to need to know how to like be creative, and then get the creative output into somewhere where it does good in the world and engages, excite people. And then I have to know about money, and how to. So it's like I had this whole fucking plan, and this whole like spin up thing that I kind of self hypnotize my mind to always be engaged with, and like always spinning no matter what I'm doing. So it's like I don't know. I fucked around with my own brain using tools that like sort of looking back on it, it's like I started a cult, but I'm the only a member of the cult because
You
I'm the only one
you
who
remind
cares about this shit.
This is the second time I've heard this story in my life, I feel like, or, like, I recognize another person who, like, has a similar arc where, there was a guy named David Mills who was a famous Magic player, and he taught classes on different, like, brain training techniques,
Mhm.
and you could see him doing the same thing back when. He was a great Magic player of some controversy, but, like, brilliant gaming mind, and has had an interesting career to boot, and, like, you can really, like, wire your OS in a certain way. Look at that guy, Albert Burkhead. Oh, this is the one that
What's up,
was been
buddy?
waiting for. So Albert Burkhead and Brian Tinsman are both good at magic and good at jujitsu. And this is a rare thing. I asked, there's a guy who was a VP of games at Netflix who's a black belt in jujitsu. And I asked him like the other day, hey man, how good are you at magic? Would you be good enough at magic to fight Albert Burkhead? And he was like, I'm jujitsu only. And I was like, we need a gamer. He'd be very good. But Brian Tinsman is literally the only other person other than Raphael Levy that Albert can fight unless he can clone himself, which might happen in the singularity that you described. Anyway, hello, Albert. There's no pressure. There's no I will not put you to the Albert might, but I won't. Um, so you and I worked at Wizards on a bunch of stuff together, and those sets came out and they played really well, but they weren't as marketable in that window of time. What do you want to tell me, Brian? You never told me how you felt about what we did to you. Did we do a good job? Do we not do a good job? What would you change if you could go back?
Um,
Kamigawa, Time Spiral.
yeah,
They're very fun to play in and of themselves, but they didn't fit in with the rest of the Magic
true, true. And
ecosystem
I,
well.
I was, I was kind of naive in thinking that you could just make a bunch of cool shit like I had before and have it come out and be cohesive.
Yep.
And Kamigawa had a bunch of cool shit in it, and like I can kind of justify to myself that it came out at the time in the early stages of uh, Commander being put together, and like, was it the push that the EDH needed to start being more popular and viable? Okay, we'll take a little credit there, but the mechanics of it and the kind of like value of the set as a set compared to other Magic sets didn't work that great.
It's
Yeah,
neat, right? If you
it was a risk. It was a risk.
I think it's super neat. Like, I didn't think that did it come from you, like someone else? I thought Bill was like, "We're doing a Japan set," and then you just figure out how to make it work, or was it from you? You're like, "Let's do a Japan set." My
No,
impression was it's the former, but
yeah. It was from Bill, and then Brady Domuth made an interesting pitch, and he did a ton of research to
mhm.
make sure that it was like not just straight up grabbing Japanese mythology, but had a magic twist on it. I thought it was pretty wonderful, and
Not
help,
no, I wanna no, go ahead.
yeah,
I have a
and
good question, though.
I wanted to push forward on what he put together and like give it the momentum it deserved.
Yeah, I want you to make a composite because I think it'll be helpful for others and even me. Like, if you think of the top 5 IPs that speak to Brian Tinsman at your core, like, what are those 5 IPs? It could be comic books, movies, TV, books, whatever. Like, are there, like, this is a Brian Tinsman, like, universe or ethos, you know what I mean, in your design spirit or aesthetic taste?
Fuck, man, you're like, look, I know you're supposed to have like a favorite movie. You're supposed to have like a favorite
You're an
ice cream
advanced game
flavor.
designer. You have a
Uh,
game that people say is great. I know you can do this.
uh,
I've seen you in person. You
like
are a black belt in jujitsu.
what's your favorite historical South American currency? Like I don't fucking know. Let me see.
I mean, I hope it's a now I feel like I need to ask what your 5 favorite currencies are that represent the true essence of your being. What's your soul stone color? No, I mean, you were big into Cthulhu, right? You had a tattoo of Cthulhu.
Yep.
Like, is that one of the IPs that you put in your top
Yeah,
5?
yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
See what I'm saying? I'm just gonna help you out
absolutely.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew the answer before I asked it. I'm just kidding.
Lovecraft mythos for sure
Yep.
is in there.
Yeah, what's your jam? What's the Brian Tinsman jam?
Um, yeah, there's probably like a bunch of early old like 1970s anime shows like uh Speed Racer
Mhm.
and Battle of the Planets and some of that Voltron type of stuff that stuck with me for sure. I watched a lot of Naruto.
Right on. What would you do with Kamigawa looking back? Did you ever think about, "Hey, I wish I had done this or that?" I did that with Time Spiral, but I didn't do that with Kamigawa. Like, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, absolutely. I would give it more setups and payoffs. We like what do people expect to come out of like a real world mythological set?
Mhm.
I don't really know because we'd never done something that was like so focused on mythology, and even the stuff that we had done that's based on real world IP was sort of like in such early days that we didn't really know how to build a cohesive set. But yeah, like you want to have some clearer storytelling going on, like the stuff that people see in commons and uncommons um, is a setup for like the effects of the characters, and then you finally see those characters at rare and mythic, and you're like, oh, these are the guys that were doing this stuff that we
Yeah.
saw in the commons and uncommons, and like just it doesn't even matter what the mechanics are, just like having those connections and those
Yeah, I agree.
inter card references like does a lot to stick in people's minds. So
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty fantastic. There's some really wonderful things you could do with the spirit world versus not, or these like, you know, the pantheon of spirits and graduating to them or whatnot. Um, but it was an interesting IP to work with. Like, if it was a one set thing and we did it and it was just like, wow, that is a very unique take on Magic, I would have been pretty happy with a juiced up version of it. We were a little bit afraid of power level after Mirrodin, and we also didn't have that much time, right? Because development was shorter for that set. So it was in retrospect, I just wish it was more powerful. I wish Splice was on instant and sorcery. I think the base mechanic of spirit is a little boring for how exciting spirits are, especially in retrospect. Like that's one where this is one where I was talking to Ben Sec and he was like, he had a perception of history that like there was one strong figure that was big on like flavor and making sure the top down design was the thing that happened. But you were pretty early in Judgment. You had like really great top down cards. Um, Fiction
so
first. I consider you to be a part of that sea change for sure.
yeah, for sure. So I will make the claim, and no one yet has refuted it. I will retract it if anyone refutes it. But
Yeah, sure.
I'll make the claim that I was the first to use and popularize the term top down design
Yeah, I thought
in
so in Judgments, right?
in R&D to to get help people understand the mindset of going fiction first. And I looked in multiverse, the database for the term top down, and the very first time it ever appeared in all of multiverse that searchable at that time was in Form of the Dragon discussion. And then like if you do a web search or an LLM search,
Mhm.
it's on it. It will reference top-down design as a programming approach, but in terms of game design, there's nothing prior to Form of the Dragon in terms of that. So maybe I get the credit for the term.
Yeah, I mean, it ends up being a political thing, right? Where the pile gets pushed enough in a certain way where there are enough hands on it that it becomes like the way things are done. And I do like it much better top down than liked it mechanical forward. Um, but I do see you as one of the people who helped push that pile over. I thought you, Aaron, Devin, basically almost everyone over not that much time just grew to like these designs much better. There wasn't a lot of resistance, like, no, don't do flavor. Like, no one, I
Hmm.
can't imagine who would say that except for the extreme mechanics people or extreme spikes, but who cares
Well,
about them?
no. I mean, the argument was, should the color pie bend in
Yeah.
service of flavor, and there was often pushback to say like, no, red can't have something that is protection, a mode effect, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you can if the flavor is a strong enough connection, and so that to me that was like a shift in thinking.
Do you have like this was a good pile to move over? Were there other piles that you helped move over that you're especially proud of from like an R&D sentiment of how we did things, how processes changed, or how we thought about certain design conceits, like the color pie you're describing? That was a really big aspect of this political brain that made this game, right? It's a congress of people who make this thing, and so
Yeah,
there's a lot. Yeah.
I'm reminded, with Rise of Eldrazi was the first instance of battle cruiser magic, and
Hmm.
that came from Ken Nagel and him describing the experience of like when casuals play StarCraft, they all just turtle up and hide and make the biggest unit in the game, and then throw them all at the center and smash them into each other. And so we started calling that um, battlecruiser magic, and then like that became an accepted term after a while. And it was unclear at that time too if you could really do that very well, because the thought was if you gum up the board too much, then games go on way too long and nobody attacks, and it's unsatisfying. But if you can make fragile defenses from turn, 1 to 6 or 7, and then big breakthrough tramplers or flyers or something like that, after that, it does become exciting and satisfying. So I feel like that was a step forward in the understanding of set building.
All right, very cool. And so Ravnica comes out, and then Time Spiral comes out, and Time Spiral, I don't know. Yeah, there are windows where I think Jeremy Cranford, for example, went off and like did a rock climbing trip, and he was gone for like 6 weeks or 2 months, and he was the art director. So you're like, well, we're gonna have to figure out how things go. I don't entirely remember the backstory behind any of it, but I do remember like you adventuring off at some point and living your life in a similar fashion. I don't know what you did. Did you like ride a bicycle? Did you go with Jeremy Cranford on a rock climbing journey? Like, I don't know if you remember this period, but there was a period where I think Brian Tinsman wasn't there, and we missed you. Do you remember what you were doing?
During Time Spiral?
Yeah, I think so. At the beginning.
Mm, I might have been having a baby.
That's a good reason to not be around.
Yeah, that's around the time my daughter was born.
Do your kids have magic cards?
My son does. I got
Oh, yeah?
daughter, son, daughter, and the son became a Magic player.
I mean more like, is there a design that was designed for them that nobody knows about? You know what I mean? Like the Rider and Phoenix cards.
Yeah, no, the other way around. We named our kids Ryder and Phoenix, and so the the kid name was customized to be like, okay, there's a bunch of cards with their name on it already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Not like Randy Bueller, who was Kira, right? He had a name that we had a card that came out at the same time she was named as a person, and they were both Kira, which I don't mind at all. I never minded that stuff. I thought it was like heartwarming as long as it's not like over the top or overly explicit to like have these Easter eggs in there. Okay. Do you have your own card? Like I talked to Mike Elliott, he's got his own card. I came just after that was okay. So like there are no cards that were made for people other than Kai Boudet and John Finkel and Bob
like
Marler and all these
like
people.
a little commemorative. Yeah, I do. They made a
Like a
card.
Brian Tinsman was here. Yeah. What is the Brian Tinsman was here card?
It's a legendary creature, 4/4 for white, blue, red, and
Hmm.
it is tap, wish for anything and put it in your hand. Take a card from outside the game.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, nice
Is that
little
are the
nice little nod to the wishes.
is that your casting cost? White, blue, red?
Yeah.
No, I mean yours specifically in life. Is that what you think of yourself as?
Um. No.
No, go on. Who is Brian Tinsman in casting
Uh.
calls?
Yeah.
I don't know,
I'm
actually.
I'm 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 green black, but not the evil black. I'm the good parts of black.
I mean, there was a really good argument for why black is good by Ben Seck on an earlier call, which was like, um, being pragmatic makes the world a better place in total over time, right? It's more of that cut where you sometimes things have to die to see growth in other ways. You make hard trade-offs. It's management. It's the management color, right? Yeah. Black is the color that's making the layoffs this week at Amazon, but in the long term, that will be better for the world, and et cetera. Sorry, I don't know if I mean that, but it is kind of important to be able to see what a good long term decision is going to be that isn't all just positive.
Yeah. Uh, ties back to the story early at the conversation when Jim hired me to fire people that he didn't want to fire.
I mean, Jim's a smart guy. He's like, those are emotions that I would have to feel. That would, every time you spent with a person, management wise, was 4 hours at night you couldn't sleep, right? So, like, instead of him not sleeping, you didn't sleep. That's just he's paying you for good reason. Do you manage people now? You must, right? You have like a whole life of game development. There's so much I want to ask you, but right now you're making wonders of the first.
Yeah,
Where did this come from? What is the inspiration for this? Is this the perfect game design by Brian Tinsman, or will there be a better game later? Like, what does it mean for you? Like, what makes this special?
it came out super good, and like any creative project like this is part luck and part skill, and we the skill part of it hit really well, and the luck part of it just hit really really well, and so
Hmm.
the gameplay system is clean. It gives a good TCG feel. It doesn't really feel exactly like anything else. But if you if you know Magic or you know other TCGs, you slot into it really well.
Hmm.
And it feels to me like a chance to start over without all the baggage, right? Like if I was still at Wizards R&D, I would be making a pitch to just like relaunch Magic with new backs and just do the basic fun Magic, you know, like you had in 70 or something like that, which
Hmm.
is wonderful, which is super fun. And like R&D people think that's old and boring because they play all day every day and they want, new fresh stuff, but like the core, the foundation of it is super awesome and fun. And so it's amazing opportunity that I didn't really think I would ever get to launch something that hits with Magic type of players and represents a reset.
Hmm.
So, and I got to make the whole rule system, from the ground up, and get national distribution within the first year, and get into big SCG cons alongside, the most legit games that are out there. And dude, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, that is definitely not easy to do. Albert Burkett has some good questions, actually. Not that you don't always have good questions. Do you think you'll ever run out of design space like Magic did and have to make the same decisions?
Will we run out of design space in Wonders? I mean, no, because the system itself allows you to expand upon it, and it might get more complicated. It might get more, sub regions or something like that. Won't be as simple as time goes on, but no, it won't run out. Um, and Albert also the see the question about no tutors, are they inevitable? I always fantasized that Magic was made with no tutors. Like the first time you see search for a card and go get it, it's kind of amazing. But then after that, you're used to it. You don't care about it. It's not special. And for the next 30 years of the game, people are sitting there waiting for you to search your deck and shuffle and doing nothing while you fiddle with your freaking deck. And it makes games more predictable and less interesting. Worked so hard to get the miracle mechanic through the development team just to make games exciting. To like, what are you going to top deck next? Right?
Hmm.
That's that's the moment that sticks in people's minds is when they were losing and then they top deck something. And it's like, oh, I can't believe this incredible comeback that happened. Like you remember that. You don't remember the other 10 games you played that day. You remember that one, right? So that's that's what I think game designers should be going for. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I hate tutors, and I kept tutors out of Wonders.
Where the design come from? Like, what if you were like, these are the three things that make this design special versus other games out there? Like, or what are the pillars that you were going after with the design?
um, I wanted to have a design that had a caps destination, right? Because I
Hmm.
had played my LGS commander games that go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and nobody's attacking, and I'm just like, yeah, people are starting to quit so that they can go join another table, and like how unsatisfying. And so
Yeah.
it was something that where every move that you do moves you toward an inevitable conclusion. Actually, I have a variant for uh, commander games, like a little cap system that it is for ending a commander game on turn 8, or you know whatever turn you select. And there's like a super interesting little political strategy of building and playing when you know the commander game is over at the when the last person takes their eighth turn, it's over, and then the the position that you put yourself in determines the outcome. I'll talk
It
to you about
it
another.
turn it turns it
Uh,
into a board game in terms of, like, the crescendo that you work towards, right? The design wants to feel a lot more like an intentionally building theater almost, right?
yeah. I should talk to you about that system another time. But
Mhm.
the other thing I was talking about, what went into Wonders. It has elements of Lost Cities, which was like, I don't know. Is that a Knizia game? That's something that was popular in R&D around the 2000s, where you're like, stacking up, trying to win territories on a board.
Is
Uh,
this person in the board game Hall of Fame? Like, we need Reiner Knizia, yeah, and he certainly is.
yeah, um, and that was like a frequent lunchtime game, and I know that inspired. I mean, there are pieces of that I think got pulled into Star Wars 2002,
Mhm.
and maybe even Star Wars Unlimited today. Which, yeah, another one is Dominion has an action cost system,
Yeah.
and Wonders takes big advantage. Like the entire Wonders game is built around an action economy system. So, and that's something that ended up in Star Wars Unlimited too. And ours was released first, so they can't accuse us of copying them.
Yeah, it's funny, it came up on the Elliott call. He was saying that, like, Dominion is a game system, not a game. And, like, it makes sense that a lot of games would be thinking about how to leverage some of those the tech demo aspects of it and making it into a more robust game. I've heard really good things about both Wonders of the First and the Star Wars game. So it sounds like the evolutions have been really healthy. I mean, that's what humans do.
Yeah. Another thing that I didn't really expect at first is that with Wonders, you have territories, realms that are opening up, and then at the end of the seventh round, all seven realms have been opened up, and the game ends at that point. And so, in the first few turns of the game, you can only do anything that affects realms, one or two, the first few that have been opened up. And that has a huge effect upon early game swings. You just can't have early game swings. Like, it doesn't matter if you put down some, giant monster that clears the board, uh, because you didn't balance your economy very well. Uh, like, just keep going with the rest of the game because it's not over until the last round. So we were able to do cards that look sort of amazing. Like, what, really? Can you do that? Like, that's got to be broken, right? And it's a little bit of a safety system built in that you can play broken stuff and it won't, like, there's still comebacks possible. Again,
Oh, it sounds
yeah,
built for drama.
yeah, right. Exactly. It goes back to what I was talking about with Miracles. It's like the games you remember are the ones where it was like nail biter right down to the wire, and the system generates that very well.
That is awesome. I'm gonna take you somewhere unexpected next.
All right.
When I say the word Zynga, what are the first 3 thoughts that occur to you?
The first three thoughts.
That's yeah, yeah, it's been a
Uh,
while.
yeah, it's a cool experience going to Zynga. Uh, they recruited me with a stock package and that kind of thing, and I was at Wizards for 10 years at that point and sort of like ready to do the next thing. I'm not going to be able to go my whole career in one spot. And also Wizards had a very draconian non-compete where they own every creative idea that you have, and
Yeah, yeah.
I had a buildup of stuff that I wanted to do that I couldn't do while I was at Wizards. Plus, and there was the great design search where they asked everybody in the community, in the all the employees at Wizards, to submit ideas for Magic set design, and
Mhm.
then mine won, and then Forsyth was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to do it. Actually, the it doesn't look good that an R&D member is the one who it gets picked by other R&D members, even though your set was the best." And we tried to fit it in the schedule, but we couldn't. I'm like, "What are you doing to me, man? Can't do that." Anyway, so I was kind of salty at that point when Zynga called up and was like, "Hey, do you want to come down here and tune our broken economic systems?" So I did do that. And so, yeah, your question was about Zynga.
Yeah, is
And
it a positive memory, negative memory, ambiguous memory? Like, what sticks out for you after all this time?
uh, the the company was all over the place. They were in high growth
Yeah.
mode. They were trying to raise funds and have um, good quarters for their investors, and they had acquiring companies that had weird company leads and all moved them in the same studio. And so I jumped
Yeah.
around to several different teams all at once, and was they wanted to do the right thing. They wanted to get like experienced game designers who were going to make their games awesome. But at the same time, they also wanted to exploit Facebook clicking loopholes to inflate their numbers. And uh, it was an amazing opportunity because like when we launched Cityville, they were able to get 10-20 million daily users in the first
30.
week of, of,
Oh,
of
yeah.
launching it, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And like, okay, so that kind of thing doesn't come around all that often in one's career. And I had to see, how does this work, how are they doing it, and what does it take to make this happen.
And now it's impossible to get a new user organically anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and it was super fascinating to see uh, how user acquisition was commoditized in mobile gaming, and how you can adjust your gameplay and your monetization loop until you get it to a positive number, and then just spray it with the cash fire hose to suddenly inflate your user base to massive numbers, and then uh, just cycle through every user to get your lifetime expected revenue out of that user. Like, that kind of thinking was new to me.
Yeah,
And-
for sure.
yeah, but I did have a great chance to go in and learn how to like tune back in economics and things like that. Like Zynga Poker had a really just in shambles inflation and economic system, and I got to go in and fix it and kind of show them how to make it tunable. And that's one of my best memories from there, being able to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good time to go back to the question that I had pinned, which is like you start out at Wizards and it has its own way of making games. Then you go to Zynga. You've done other games since. I don't know if you want to get into those, but I am interested in how your processes harken back or how they've changed in terms of how you make games as much as you're comfortable talking about it. I'm not looking for proprietary, more like evolution, right? How has it changed for you?
um so when you go to do game design, the most important question is, who's this game for?
Mhm.
And you you make a promise to the player, and then your job is to fulfill on that promise, fulfill their expectations on that promise.
Mhm.
And along the way, you also have to fulfill the expectations of the business. Unless you're just making a game for fun on your own that not very many people are going to play, then that's fine. But if you're doing game design professionally, is the intersection between expectations of the publisher and the expectations of the player, um, do those intersect correctly in a way that can be successful and sustainable?
Mhm.
And
So you're more business minded in how you approach it, or it's
so
not that it,
you so you're
I
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you're asking about the evolution of my thinking, and my thinking early
yeah,
on
yeah.
was like, there's so
Oh,
many
thanks.
cool ideas that people haven't done, that, and let's try some of these cool ideas and see what works, and then we'll learn a lot. And now I'm more like, there are lots of cool ideas, but do some expectation setting ahead of time so that you're not aiming the wrong promise, or you're not fulfilling the promise of the people who would want to play this kind of thing, and you're also not giving a bad read on the publisher or the boss, or whoever is backing this thing.
There's some undertone I hear here. I haven't pieced together the right storytelling, but you talked about the game ends on turn 7 or turn 8 no matter what, and life ends on turn 7 or turn 8 no matter what. And I wonder a little bit if a design has, like, a same life cycle where you're like, if you're not good by this point, you go back in the box. You know what I mean? Is there, like, some kind of, like, temporal logic to it? I don't know. What's the longest game that you took to design that doesn't get you in trouble?
I mean, the
Um,
one that I got stuck around and
yeah.
played the longest, now, like, not counting Magic. I mean, I did
No, not
system
that way.
system
How long
design.
did it from start to finish publishing? So, like, a project that you have been working on independently, like, that took, so I have been, like, having ideas for stories that I would put in a book for, 20, 25 years. Like, it's more about the ideation and, like, does your process work where you come up with a fixed target, you find a bunch of things that you think are cool, and you essentially, like, piece it together through feel, what you like and don't like? Or are there things that have been seeds that were planted a long time ago that become like, it's essentially like, what's the longest germination period for something that people ended up interacting with over time?
Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of always have ideas churning, and so, like, this happened to me on many occasions. Like, when I was they needed a couple of Duel Masters sets created on a short time frame. Can you do it? I'm like, I'll do my best. And then I just go back and, like, oh, there's a Magic set that I made for my own entertainment 4 years ago. I'll just dust it off and adapt it to this Duel Masters set, and use some of the major ideas and themes, put that together in a couple of days, and then you know goof off for the rest of the week. And then at the end of the week, here, I got this whole set for you. How do you like it? Oh, this amazing! You did it so fast. Like, no, I did it 4 years ago. But
It pays to be ahead of the game. 4 years is a long time. Hmm.
yeah, it's,
Yeah,
it's 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 like that with a lot of stuff I work on.
yeah, before we started this call, you were saying your life was quite awesome and that there's a lot to be grateful for. And we've also had this undertone of, like, there's a lot to be grateful for in, like, Magic bringing us all together. And then even, on top of that, being able to work in R&D at Wizards and meeting all these other people. I kind of want to harken back to that conversation because it's heartwarming that your life is good and that your family is well and growing. Congratulations. Um, yeah, I mean, how do you feel about your gaming journey to this point?
Yeah, very grateful that I got a chance to be in the right time in the right place. and and
Congratulations on
and
the
and,
hopeful
and,
victory. Yeah.
and comport myself well,
Yeah.
to take advantage of the situation. Yeah, looking back, I had actually like forgotten how many Pokemon sets that I worked on, until I I went back and I looked some of the credits from like 2000, 2001, 2002, and like these are highly regarded Pokemon sets throughout the history. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I did. I put together the whole program for how we did consumer testing, and maybe the first time consumer testing had ever been done on ripping Pokemon packs. And I'm like, I highly underappreciated the impact that that had on the industry. And then subsequently with Magic development and all the other games that we worked on quite a few other games that didn't really go anywhere. You never knew which ones were going to be the hits or not when you were working on them.
If they hired you to be head of the Magic franchise right now, what would you do? This is
Well,
vengeance is yours. Yeah.
uh,
It's now Brian Tinsman's world.
yeah. So
Is this too much power for you? I feel like this might be giving you a weapon that is too great, but I'm still interested in the answer.
um, yeah, I would split the streams. I
The
would,
IP stuff and non IP stuff.
yeah, yeah, and I would uh make a version. I mean, pre-modern is kind of attempting to do this already. Make a version that lets people have their own space to just like really enjoy Magic, and then have all the other crazy IP stuff and collector stuff. Like people love that stuff because they buy it, and actually, like that's another thing that Wonders has done well that Magic is kind of missing on is the collectability aspect. I learned a ton from the Wonders team, who come from a sports card collecting background,
Hmm.
and um, it gave me a new appreciation for the collecting as a hobby. When you're coming from a game design background, you're sort of like, okay, there's the game play part of it, and then there's the card collecting part of it, and don't pay attention. Like there's this big section of sports cards on Target that's sort of like a mystery. Like, why would you buy this tops box rather than this upper deck box? Like, I don't know. But the aspect of buying, collecting, understanding values, knowing what other people are going to trade for, that's all gameplay. That's all. Like making a good deal, or even deciding like I'm going to collect all of this player, all this team, and that's going to add to my personal expression through my collection. Like that's all gameplay, 100%. So
Hmm.
I've new appreciation for that. So what Wonders has done is implemented a no reprints policy. We just don't reprint cards after a 2-year
Okay.
window. That's
Makes it easy. Yeah.
I've never heard a game company do that before, because potentially there's a huge problem that if it's successful and there's limited supply, then you know getting a decent deck is going to be overly expensive. New players won't be able to enter in. So we've got solutions for that. So Wonders has a Warhammer style army point building system
Hmm.
on its cards, which means that you can have a format that's 1,000 point deck, and then a couple times a year we put out a balance update, and so now your card that was 40 points, that was dominating all the high level championships, now it's 50 points, right? It's slowly creeping to become less desirable, and so that gives us like immense fine tuning power over the environment without ever having rotation, without ever having bans. You just like creep a card's power up until the meta is better if it's causing problem, right? So people can kind of have confidence that their card is playable. And if they have a favorite card and its point value starts getting really high, then like, okay, you know, play the 2,000 point format, play the 5,000 point format, and
Yeah.
you'll be match is essentially a matchmaking system.
I
And
like the moving economy systems. We when we played, at Wizards, we played this classic fantasy baseball game where every year they would readjust the cost to make it so that cards would be appropriately purchased, and it changed the balance. I actually find that a wonderful, if you're deep into a game, a wonderful dynamic to keep it fresh and interesting. So that's sounds really cool to me.
yeah,
It's, hmm,
and so
Albert? No, go
part of what that does is it lets us make pack opening exciting too. Because Magic pack opening is not that exciting. Are you plugged into like the whatnot scene?
Mm-mm.
You
What
know
is
what it
this?
is?
What not to? No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So there's an app called Whatnot, and it's basically live streaming of people opening packs of Pokemon
Yeah, I
or
have
cards.
seen videos of this stuff, but
Yeah.
not that. Yeah.
And people can bid in real time, and they're like, okay, the highest bidder was $50 for this pack. Let's open it up and see what cards this person got, and then they show it, and it's sort of like being at Vegas with a bunch of people watching you throw the dice. They can all cheer when you get something good. And
Yeah, that is cool.
adds excitement to it. It's to me, it's kind of it's really gambling-ish, which that's all right, but also there's value to it in that you watch card packs getting open and you're like, learning about this is the most valuable card in the pack, or this one is, really hard to get. And so now you have some knowledge when you are, looking at other sealed packs, you know what's in there, that kind of thing. So I kind of go back and forth. But some products are really good for whatnot because they're just like exciting to open, and the rips you get, everybody is like cheering. And that doesn't really happen with Magic packs. Like
Yeah, what game does it best, you think?
Pokemon does it really well.
Pokemon's the one I would think. I mean, they have a game that's just opening packs, right? It's like I don't even remember the game. I played it for a little bit, and I was like, "Ah, it does feel good to open it."
Yeah, One Piece does it pretty well, and yeah, a lot of sports card packs do it really well. And our company that makes Wonders also has a sports card product called Bo Jackson Battle Arena,
Oh, cool.
and they do it super well too.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, Pokemon Go, or sorry, Pokemon Pocket is like a game you can play with the cards you're opening. Like, I don't know that Pokemon is a weird one, right? The kids that I see collecting it aren't playing it so much still, even after all this time. So you're like, what would you do with great opening packs in a great game? It's interesting to me. Obviously, like Pokemon has the IP strength, but the gameplay side, it's not an A, as far as I can tell. Um, hmm, yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it much, but as the world changes very quickly now, it's like, oh, that could be like even having the social network opening packs dynamic as being a part of it. That could be kind of interesting, right? Having it all kind of integrated and having a community that's playing these things and opening these things. And it's like very exciting in a contained universe instead of it being all across every platform or in different apps or whatever.
Yeah, and there's a number of like community generated mini games and traditions around pack opening too that like reminds me of how the community put together EDH. And the community who likes to participate in pack opening challenges will have open a pack, and this pack versus that pack, whichever one has the highest collector number or the highest rarity or something, wins uh the box topper, or wins some prize or something like that. You don't have to know anything about Magic or Pokemon gameplay or something to participate in that kind of thing, right?
Yep. Albert asked a question: are 400 Dragon boxes really getting immolated on March 30th? I don't know what that refers. What is that?
um
Do you know? I don't know.
Uh, so yeah, dragon boxes are wonders the first boxes that contain high amount of like serialized and special card. They're the super high value product, and so there's a discussion that uh, if they don't get claimed, so the company is uh, comes from a sports card collecting background, and there's been scandals where the a company will publish something and then keep back a whole bunch of product for themselves,
Oh, sure, sure,
and
sure.
and, and that's shady, right? Because you come back and sell it when the price is like doubled later on, and it's
Hmm.
just like taking equity out of collectors' collections when you do that. So yeah, we want to make sure we don't do that kind of thing. So
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that. You guys are from different worlds than I am at this point. I have lived in Silicon Valley non-analog. But I did wonder in my last chat with Cole Maderas, who you might remember from Zynga time, he reminded me that Snoop Dogg was brought in to blow up a truck for Mafia Wars. And so I was like, hey, if Snoop Dogg is available, harken back to those times and have him blow up the boxes. I would love to see him do it correctly this time because he blocked the camera the first time. Um,
I didn't know
anyway,
that.
yeah, it was pretty wild. The Mafia Wars team did a lot of incredibly weird marketing things to try and, grow the company. And Snoop Dogg was late. Like they built up a lot of drama and they were like webcasting it. He was late and then he pressed the button early in front of the camera and the drama, the drama was foiled. Anyway, you could beat that, is what I'm saying. If you believe in yourself.
Yeah,
Many people to learn from. Talk to Scotty K. I would guess that he would be happy to tell you how to do it right and better if it comes to that. Well,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Albert mentioned the Shattering too. That's the release event. We have our set two coming out in middle of March in Columbia, South Carolina, and it's going to be a, a big event where people can come and play and do sealed. And the game is super well suited for sealed. Uh, so even if you're a new player, you can come and participate and open packs and open boxes. And our Magic people that have gotten sucked into it have given us like really good praise on it.
Very cool. How is it like working with family? I have not never done that. It's you have to say nice things. I'm going to qualify it. Your family may listen to this at some point, but no. How is it? I assume it's wonderful. But
Working with family
mm,
on game projects.
yeah,
Um, yeah, my wife Alex was involved in the
the launch, right?
the launch and IP development, and yeah, we had a big Kickstarter. Then she ran a
It was cool.
whole bunch of that. Yeah, it was great. It's super fun. She's amazing. So
Yeah,
I could do a whole
fun
hour
woman.
on her career and her success and her strategic approaches.
I talked to
She,
her in a week or two. So,
oh my god,
but if you want to
she
give a question now or plant a seed of a conversation I wouldn't know about otherwise, feel free.
yeah, she she did a side project for a crypto company that um, it ended up putting her as head of marketing, and then ended up putting her as president of it, and then um, steered the FBI to her to help explain some other unrelated theft in Japan. So she was like, I was just a marketing a consultant here, and so now
That's not a good way for that story to go, but it does make you feel appreciate working on trading card games a lot more, doesn't it?
yeah, it's uh, I was just sort of like, how did how do we get here? And but she did amazing. The outcome of that story is incredible success also. So I'll
You
let
guys have
I'll
had kind of an incredible journey, right? You were on TV. Were you on Oprah? Is that right?
no, we were on
Montel
yeah,
was
that's right,
it?
Montel. That's right.
Montel? Montel was the speaker at my college graduation.
Oh wow.
Pretty weird. But either way, he was huge back then.
Yeah.
So you guys
Yeah.
have been a
So,
unique team in my
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
So I didn't finish answering your question about working with family. The other
Yeah,
piece
do it.
of it was my son Ryder got to work with me on doing game design. He was on the system design team and car design team, and then we got to go and do a bunch of offsites in which we would get together for like 4 days of everyone play tests late into the night, and then
Very cool.
just get food delivered and build pre-con decks and all that stuff. And like, wow, what an amazing chance to like let your kids see what you do and get to do it and share it with them. Like that doesn't happen all that often, right? So and
No.
then yeah, and then it turned out to be like super high quality outcomes.
Yeah, often I have in these conversations, I'm like, "Hey, how did you approach parenting with games? How did you approach gaming and technology and, like, the parental lens of being a game designer who knows the good value of playing games, but also knowing where you don't want them to be dopamine addicted?" And you've gone beyond everyone else. Most people talk about the games they play with their kids, and you and Ryder have made the game together, and, like, it's a much higher degree of depth, but it does also probably speak to the fact that you've played a lot of games together before this point is my guess. Like, it's not easy to make a trading card game well, right?
Yeah.
Is that true? You played games as a family
Yep.
on
Yep. Yep.
purpose?
hmm
Yep. Mhm.
Uh, yeah. TCGs and board games worked on board games together just for fun, just to see if we could make something cool.
Pretty awesome, Brian. You sound like a pretty great dad, and
Uh,
that excites me. And if why
thank you.
not?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's the to any great dads out there. Um, it sounds really cool that you guys got to do that together. And who knows what the future will bring. What's the future for Wonders of the First? I don't know a ton about it, but you're putting out your second set. I don't have a sense of like what your journey intends to be without revealing anything that shouldn't be. Like what's the journey you want to see for this game?
Um, Slow, steady growth. I mean, it's super hard to break in, especially when you don't have an IP that a lot of people are familiar with, and you're kind of building it from the ground up. Like you gotta build your own ladder as you climb it. Um, and so I think like a lot of other and of course the TCG marketplace is famous for having games that get popular and then burn out, and LGSs are, you know, stuck with a bunch of inventory that won't sell. And so, like the way to do it is each set you get some more players, you expand your base, you know, keep your sets going strong. Don't overprint, right?
Mhm.
And of course, like Pokemon has uh, demonstrated really well that they can find a spot where their product sells out and is in high demand. And if fans ever see a box of Pokemon for actual retail price, they grab it and buy it. And like the they're leaving a lot of money on the table by doing that, and it keeps demand high. And so, to me, that's the sustainable way to grow a TCG, as long as you can have the discipline to do it. Right?
Mhm.
It seems to me that a lot of TCGs, um, they raise funding and then they're like, okay, we have funding for 18 months, and by that point we better be making cash flow positive because we'll run out, our runway ends there. And then by the 18 month 18th month, like whatever set that is, like, oh, we're selling really well. Okay, just go ahead and double the print run, and you know, we'll we'll sell all these boxes. We'll have all these cash, and then like that makes a market crater and the perception of players like, oh, nobody wants this stuff. It's still on shelves. It's used to sell out, but now it doesn't anymore.
It
So
sounds like you're building something for the long term instead of like, a lot of the businesses in Silicon Valley are thinking, how do we exit by a certain time at the, highest return for lowest cost? And you're thinking, how do I make a game that's going to build, grow, and be here the rest of my life? I think is, an
dude,
ambitious version of it. Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed that I have like these boxes of Ravnica from 2004 or something like that that used to be worth like $1,800 or something like
Hmm.
that. And now everything in them has been reprinted so much that they're worth
Yeah.
like maybe 1,100 or something like that. It's like the equity of my collection, the sealed collection, especially like very not that many sealed boxes of Ravnica out there anymore. And I'm like, they reprinted it, so there's nothing good to open in these, right? So
Yeah. I have some of that too. It's like you could play
yeah,
it for limited, but like, who has time for that
well,
anymore?
one wonders
Yeah.
wonders it can be my revenge for doing that.
I think that's beautiful in a way. I don't mind that at all. No, I mean, it's fun to see people go after these design spaces and try to level up the I don't know if art form is the way to put it, but, why not? Essentially improve the model so that, uh, there are other options for games that can endure, that have better systems that are better designed to last, I think. I think that's admirable, and it sounds like you're doing it in a lifestyle-friendly way. Whereas, where I live, it is hard to be so lifestyle forward. It's nice to be able to like, hey, be thoughtful about what you're doing. And so it sounds like you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I'm able to have really successful game design work. I'm able to go and train jujitsu and see my friends there 3 or 4 times a week, and, I'm an instructor at a highly regarded, uh, school here in Austin,
Hmm.
and, just the social aspect of that too is like super good for mental health to be able to like see friends on a regular basis. A lot of people who work in intense careers uh, don't get that time for themselves. So or
Yeah.
family too. Yeah, I got 3 kids and 1 grandkid, and they all live nearby and are involved in each other's lives. So it's like, oh my god, this like the fundamentals of good quality of life are all like nailed those.
There's a lot to like in your journey. I can admire from afar. I'm proud of you. I'm
All
going to give
right,
you a remote
fist
hug,
bump, buddy.
fist bump. Yeah, whatever you want. You're not going to get COVID from me, but it's okay. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and Wonders is super fun to design for too. Like it just like it wants sets want to design themselves because there's so many aspects that they can play with. So the sets that we've put together, like they start out being a few hundred cards, and then they end up with like 400 card sets, and then um, another 60 or 80 like little tokens or other enhancement cards. We'll creeping up on 500 card sets. So
wow,
that yeah, that to me
that's
like
pretty good.
it's hard to keep the sets under 400 cards because they're just like they're fun and cool, and you always want to make more. So that's very auspicious. That's very promising for future design possibility.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm interested. I know we should time box it somewhat, but I am curious about where you think like gaming will go in the next like 10 years, right? Like, are there any things that like you think are interesting spaces related to what generative AI brings, whatever you see on the horizon at this point?
Generative AI is going to be, I think, definitely integrated into gaming experiences, in the form of making on the spot content creation, like being a GM for games that are like sort of in the model of tabletop role playing or anything that has aspects of that,
Hmm.
or generated on the spot um, content of any kind, and especially with regard to uh, streaming and having multiple people playing games online with an audience and having things happen from AI that are, you know, one in a million chance, right? Like that kind of thing sticks with people and will become legendary, and everybody will be like trying to chase those amazing moments. That's kind of where I see it headed.
Cool.
Yeah,
Good to know.
one of my favorite games I've ever played is not even a game. It's just getting on an LLM and saying, look, write a story with me. I'll be the director. You write the scene. Here's the scenario. We're trapped in a cavern and water's rising to the ceiling and, you know, eh, write the scene. Right. And then I, each new scene, I'm just like making a story. Like what would the characters do next? And the LLM will, agree with things, except like if you've defined your characters really well, it'll stop you from doing things like, oh, that character wouldn't do that. And it's just incredibly compelling. So
Yeah, I can see that. Well, cool. I appreciate you taking the time. It's nice to see you. I
yeah,
won't
you do.
challenge you to Majitsu because I don't want to play Jujitsu or Majitsu, but if someone does, you'll have to answer for yourself.
Yeah,
And
did I'm kind of interested, like what's going on in your life and your last
oh yeah,
couple decades. I don't know if you covered that with other people already, but
I
uh,
don't
tell
know that I did.
tell me something that people won't be tired of.
Yeah, I don't think they know. I don't talk about about myself that much. Yeah, I went to so I left Wizards. I took a sabbatical for a year and I read like 200 books. I walked every day, played a lot of music, recorded a lot of music, and then I wasn't ready to come back. I was still pretty burned out, and also like from my perspective, while Magic was a ton of fun to work on, I didn't want to think about just it for the rest of my life. And I've realized, and I don't know how your brain works, but I'm like, oh, I do best when I'm like, I batch work, focus, and then move to a next thing, as opposed to just like do the same thing over and over and over again. Um, I prefer to be a bumblebee. And so I didn't go back to Wizards. I made a fun game for the Xbox with a friend of mine, Peter Hallow, and then I decided, all right, it's time to go back to work. And I went to San Francisco to join a startup called Serious Business, which was founded by people who've done really well in Silicon Valley, Ziki Chen and Alex Lay. And we got acquired by Zynga in 6 months. And, I was like, hey, I could do things other than make games. It would be really fun to do that. And then I got acquired. They were like, oh, you know how to make games. I'm like, fine, fine, universe, fine, I'll do it. So I worked on Cityville, which was gigantic in its day. Was there through the IPO, and I've been on startups ever since. I joined a company that was trying to do what Epic was doing, Rumble, um, and then I went to Pocket Gems and helped grow Episode into an interactive storytelling platform that's still one of the category winners today. I went to Modern Health and was the head of product there, and it's a mental health unicorn. So I just kept going. The story gets weirder. I've had like some health issues, partly due to like the stress level, and just we're human, not robots. So the startups put me under some significant enough duress in tandem with my own bad practices of not taking care of myself well enough. So I've been recuperating over the last 4 months. Yeah, I mean, I've been on the executive team of multiple startups now. The one was a platform of games that you could play with streamers, which was a lot of fun. We had a game that was doing pretty well in that lane, and if we had just built that, I think we would still be going pretty strong. And then Series AI, which is the last company I was at. Um, funded by E16Z and Netflix, and in the generative AI gaming space, um, across many different lanes. That was a lot of fun, but in January last year, it took me down, and I ended up getting rushed to the ER, and it was like, I can't really afford to keep doing these really fun startup-y grinds. It's, with the family, it's like, I love working too hard, to the point where I burn myself out, but I think it's, not worth the risk. Does that sound, and I have, like, 2 kids that are great and a great wife, so my family is definitely my favorite achievement or accomplishment, but all those other job things are cool too, but, they're like a distant infinitieth, like, you know, for sure. Does that answer your question? Is that what you wanted to know?
Well, I mean, now I got another, hour I
No?
need
Shoot.
to
Oh, yeah, no, no.
to hear about all that stuff, but,
You're the one with time
well,
constraints, not me.
maybe another time, or maybe I'll
Do a part.
scoot in when you talk to Alex.
We'll do, yeah, for sure. We'll do a part 2. You can be on the Alex call. I've always wanted to use this functionality. It says invite guests, and, like, I've never invited a guest, but, like, you could jump in, tag in. It could be some kind of weird wrestling-like scenario where you both tag team me and I feel awkwardly cornered, and then I tag in Albert, who is my black belt protector, and, that sounds fun too. Yeah, you can prime Alex with all the hard questions, but life is good. I have no complaints. I'm very, very lucky in all things, and I've been lucky to know all of you clowns as well.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, I have, like, big file of ideas for stuff to do with AI games and, putting it all together, so be fun to talk about, that kinda stuff too, talk shop sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on the other side, like, with this media stuff, I'm like, "How do I automate a lot of this with Claude and, anti-gravity?" And I'm doing a lot of, when I'm not recording, I'm trying to figure out, "Oh, how would you build the modern media business?" Kind of, just to learn how it all works and how you would piece together on the creative/marketing side. It pays to know a lot of things as a game maker, doesn't it, Brian Tinsman?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
For sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to chat offline another time, and if I see you on Alex's call, I will, I'll fist bump you again.
Well, I'm really glad that you reached out.
Yeah, it is really fun to catch up with folks, and I'm glad to see you're doing so well.
So, put this and your other interviews on your channel?
So the way it works, it's really interesting. So I started out on Substack, and I was like, "Hey, I'll just write a weekly thing, for 52 weeks," and Magic Tech is 60, so I'm like, "Alright, I'll just make it 60," and I'm like, "Oh, you have to have a sideboard," so I write 15 more, and so I have, like, all these stories, and I'm like, "Why would Bill Rose wanna wait a year for this crap and Charlie Catino?" And so I'm like, "Alright, I'm just gonna turn it into a book and publish it," and then I was like, "Ugh, half the people want an audiobook and da 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 da." So the product has continued, like, going on, but I've been using Substack to distribute everywhere pretty much. So, like, YouTube is a channel that I connected with Albert when we did a video that has been fun to grow, and I'm just kind of, like, putting out a beacon for anyone who's interested in, like, the topic of game makers and people who have been close to Magic for a long time or interesting creators. It builds across Substack, Instagram, all of it. It's been neat to watch. I didn't know how the internet worked at, like, such a level of depth before, but it's nice to do a project that's so, like, kind of warm in tone.
You have any Wizards people, turn you down? Or
Has anyone turned me down?
I guess ghost you is the other version.
I had one person ghost me, but we're gonna meet in person, so I think that one is fine. Uh, I haven't asked everyone. I have a list of, like, 100 or 120 people. Almost everyone has said yes, and to the degree where if you see the invite list, you're gonna be like, "That's fucking awesome." Like, you're like, "This is gonna be awesome."
No, you're
So
gonna be like a connection hub for like, "Oh, I need to get in touch with this person. Oh, Schneider knows him."
yeah, I mean, it has been a lot of fun. Like, I am, like, batching a lot of these calls up front because I can see, oh, I might be going back to work in the next month or two. But I want to get it all like a time capsule recorded because one, like, you know, we all have had our health stuff. Some of our friends have passed away. Taywin passed away, right? Um, I think I want us to be able to like have a time capsule to celebrate that group on the Magic the Gathering side. Kai Bude died last night. He's a legend of the game. And
Oh, wow.
like, yeah, you just want to be like before it's too late, kind of say thank you and remember the good times. Just to have the story told and to connect one more time. It's a special cohort of people, right? On both sides, the Magic playing side, the Magic community, and even the people we've been able to journey with along the way. It's just a conscious moment to do that, right?
Yeah. I
Usually, you just work.
I was talking with an LLM about, some of the games that I've worked on in the past, and it instructed me that I should take my binder of all of the TCG sets, that I've worked on and just write 1 page about what I did and the team and what the experience was like, and it's like, this is gonna be like a treasured memento for your family or whoever, sees this in the future. uh, we'll have a little piece of the history that you don't appreciate that when you go through it, but it, many years later, decades later, like all that stuff will be lost unless it's recorded. I was like, oh my god, that's super cool idea. I never thought of.
Yeah, ChatGPT is looking after us. Yeah, I mean, it's the time, right? We're not gonna remember. I can already tell, like, 45 was the year where I was like, "Damn, I love 45." I'm not 45, I'm 48 now, and I'm like, "45, damn, 45 was really good." So, like, the memories will fade, and I just wanna, like, capture the good ones as artfully as possible before, uh, you know, I've reached the end of my Flowers for Algernon arc.
All
Um, yeah, well, cool.
right.
I wish you the best
Yeah,
once
you
this is
too.
the first willow, and, it's nice to see you after all
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. It's really, really great to talk to you. Really, really, hey, I'm grateful we got to work on that stuff together, and I'm grateful you're exploring those memories too. Good job, man.
I appreciate it. I'll see Alex in a week or 2.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Take it easy.
Thanks.